Can you hear me now? Let me know on the Facebook if you can hear me now. Oh my gosh, I swear. I go through my checklist, I check it twice, and I still manage to do naughty things. Thanks, Kaya. Oh my gosh. Okay, so as I was saying, what we're going to do today is we're going to help you waste less time, waste less money on attracting and converting your next few clients. And we're going to do that by busting three major issues. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so Patricia can hear me. Nadia can hear me. Good. I'm so glad that I was able to fix that out. Okay, great. So why is this so important? Because I see the most marketing, the most energy kind of going towards fueling these beliefs, because people know that if they say the magic words, you're going to be woven into a trance and you're going to follow. Because here's the first one. Here's the really big first lie. That you need a really big following to have a really amazing business. Okay, so this is myth number one. Now, one of the reasons why I think this gets fueled is if you do have a really large following, that's an asset or an advantage, but it's not necessary. It's not required. I think the thing that bugs me the most about this particular lie is that if you're like most people that I know that go into coaching, that want to start a coaching business, you probably haven't been thinking like an entrepreneur all along. So you probably haven't been curating a social feed or building an email database or doing those things. So when you see somebody use that asset of the following, you think, I can't possibly be successful. Has anybody heard this one? You know, where this is the most insidious and the most damaging to your progress is when you think you have to build a big following first. So I want to give you actually an example. You know, I started my business with 8 names on a Post-it. That's where I started. 8 names of people on a Post-it. But there's also plenty of examples where people have built followings of like literal millions of people, and they were not effective at selling their coaching program. I'm going to say that again. There are people who have built followings of literally millions of people, and they weren't able to sell the coaching program. Why is that? Well, the reason why is because people follow for all kinds of reasons. So if they were following you for your viral, funny content, and then you want to sell them a program that is like serious business stuff, then the percentage of people in that community that are going to be really interested in your serious business stuff is going to be way, way less than if you had been talking about serious business stuff all along. Okay. Another example of this might be somebody who builds a really huge business following, and then they come out with a bunch of mindset content. Well, the thing is that if your following is following you for all the mindset content, and then you suddenly start talking about your business, guess what? You're kind of starting from scratch. So there's this idea that I really want you to write down in your notes, because I know you're a note taker on a Monday, is it's more about the straight conversation. It's the straight conversation. It's the straight line of thought from when they meet you through the rest of your relationship. They know you for this thing. So this is another way of saying like your brand. What do people actually associate with you? It's not the size of your following, it's what you do with it. Okay, couldn't resist that particular joke. My goodness. Is that a relief for anybody? Let me know in the chat. The thing is like even the people who have millions of followers, there was a day when they had 0. So remember that. I mean, like you don't need it as a prerequisite to success. It helps, but it's not the reason you succeed. Okay, the second big myth, the lie that's keeping you super stuck, is you think you got to create social content that's viral in quality every single day. And the notion of doing this keeps coaches so stuck, because they see what people are doing for that attention and they think, that's not me. I can't do that. I don't know how to, I don't want to twerk. I don't want to dance. There's a great song actually. It's like, I don't want to dance. Anyway, the point is that yes, you do need to do something for attention, but when we're talking about a 6-figure coaching business, you definitely don't have to have ever gone viral. I have never gone viral with any of my content. And it's so funny because I was learning from somebody else and they were like, you need to have viral reels. And I listened really closely. And here's what she meant by viral. She meant that it had to be good enough to get shared with somebody else. I'm like, honey, that's not viral. You know, when I look at a viral piece of content, we're talking about, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of people resharing. And like, that's not only kind of hard to do and difficult to do predictably, it's also not necessary. You don't have to do that. And if your definition of viral content is content that gets shared beyond your friends, then that actually lowers the bar considerably, right? So instead of viral content, what you want, I'm going to make you a new card. We're going to replace daily viral content with daily good content. Because the pressure to be like viral, so daily posting, trying to be viral, trying to get all this attention, doing all these weird hooks and weird things to get the attention that is then subsequently lost. Focus instead on having good conversations, you know? And I would start at the individual level, like one-to-one. Daily good connection. I should have wrote connection instead of content. But instead of holding yourself to the standard that you've got to be viral or you're worthless, how about you hold yourself to the standard of saying something good that's helpful every day, right? And you can get better and better at this. You can measure, you know, in my program, The Experts Network, I show people how to measure the success of their content so that they can beat themselves. Because if you're competing with like some of the biggest names in coaching and in the expert industry, you're not going to compete because you're just like them. You know, is that true or true? Let me know. You're not going to compete because you're exactly like them. You're going to compete because you have your spin on things. You focus on the things that are getting looked over or glossed over or missed by your competitor. Okay. The third big lie that keeps coaches super stuck is you're too new at this to charge a lot. You're too new at this to charge a lot. And I know I had the same idea that like you start in some sort of a weird coachy kindergarten, charging almost nothing. And then you work your way up, going one by one, climbing this imaginary ladder until someday you're worthy enough, good enough to charge a higher price. And I'll never forget this coaching moment that I got in my first year. I learned from a woman who, I got something in my eye, you guys. This is so live. I got something in my eye. Okay. But she had the experience of doing like deals and sales in the order of billions. Okay. That's with a B. And I'm like, okay, this is a badass. And she had, you know, she was cool. She was a mom. She was super into sports. Like she was super cool. And she had this like amazing track record. And I got this chance to sit down with her and I asked her, I said, oh no, it's below the area. I got to learn. Is this better, Mona? You're too new to charge, or you've had too many few past clients. So anyway, I'm chatting with her. And I ask her, like, what's the difference between a $3,000 coaching package and a $30,000 coaching package? And she says, a comma. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, that really made me think, because I was like, is it really a comma? And I really thought about it, you know, for some reason, I just translated the idea to cars. I can buy a car for $3,000. It'll have 4 wheels. It'll have a steering wheel. It'll have brakes. It'll be functional. Like I can do that. Thanks, Mona. That's so helpful. I love this community. You guys are awesome. She's like, you can put it next to your ear instead of your face. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's try that. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you, Mona. So a $3,000 car, as I said, 4 wheels, brakes, gas, the whole thing. Is it going to be the nicest car at $3,000? Probably not. It's probably going to be used, probably going to have a bunch of miles on it, probably going to be an older model, versus a $30,000 car. So a $30,000 car still has four wheels, still has the steering, still has the gas, but it is shinier. It's a little shinier. It's probably newer. Probably doesn't have quite as many miles on it. It probably hasn't been driven by other owners. So there's these things, these little small things. The difference between a $3,000 package and a $30,000 package, it turns out, is positioning and targeting. The kind of person who buys a $30,000 car is a different kind of person than somebody who buys a $3,000 car, typically, right? So I realized that I needed to tweak how I was positioning my coaching, not wholesale do something completely different. It still had four wheels and a steering wheel. Is this metaphor making sense, you guys? Right? There's no like prerequisite to charging at that. I'm putting it by my ear, like Mona said. There's no prerequisite to charging more, except deciding that you're going to. And the first few times that I pitched more to people that don't buy premium coaching. Like they're not in that market. They're not the kind of person that's invested in themselves before. It's not that they never could be. It's just that when we met and at that time, that was not the conversation, right? Now, you're probably not needing to go from necessarily 3,000 to 30,000. Maybe you're going from 300 to 3,000. Again, the difference is a comma. And if you're willing to do the work to hold yourself to that standard of I'm going to do the 3K versus the 300, then you get to ask yourself higher quality questions. Like, what is the legitimate difference between these two things? And so those are the three lies that like keep people super, super stuck. No one gave me permission to suddenly raise my prices and aim at a demographic that wants to pay for it. No one gave me that permission. I had to give myself that permission. No mentor is going to give you that permission. They're going to remind you that you can give yourself that permission, but you're the one at the end of the day that has to decide, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to show up in another way. I'm going to show up more professionally. I'm going to show up with higher and elevated standards. I'm going to have a little more polish on what I do, right? Says the girl who covers her face. Here's my point. It's okay. You can still cover your face. You can still like do things a little bit wrong. You're going to have a lot of room to succeed, but the first thing is you've got to give yourself permission to do it. So I want to recap on the three things before I go over into the next part, which is number one, that you need to have a big following before you ever start. Like that's not true. It's objectively not true. And I know it's not true because I made multiple six figures without even having an Instagram account. And like, it's more about the meeting people, talking to people, fitting with people so you can coach the people. Pressuring yourself to have viral content. You do not need to do that. You need to have instead daily good content, right? So this is content that's directly addressing the fears, the concerns, and the challenges that your perfect person is facing in your premium coaching experience. And the final thing is that you're just too new at this to charge. You've had too few experiences. Look, if you're watching me right now, there is a very good chance that you are millennial and above. You might be a Gen Xer. You might be even a boomer. You're like experienced in life. You're experienced in what the thing is that you're offering. So don't dishonor that and don't discount that, because you have to be the first one to give permission for people to pay you. Then people are going to give themselves permission to pay you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got to first believe in you, and then you get to enroll the belief of others. Now, on Thursday, I'm going to do like a proper Zoom workshop, and it's on how to get your first or next 5 coaching clients, even if you don't have a social media following or you don't have your email list started yet, right? You're obviously doing that. I think a lot of people know, like, you got to have some social presence, you got to start the email list, but for some reason we have all these things that kind of get in the way of getting started. I'm going to show you how to get those next 5 clients in the door, even if you don't have those things started yet. And you can register by saying 5, or you can go ahead and go to impactfulcoach.com. impactfulcoach.com. This is going to take you to a registration page where you can sign up. It's going to be Thursday, 11 a.m. Central, and it's going to be a step-by-step walkthrough of exactly what is necessary to secure those next 5 clients. So if you're one of those coaches that's wanting to start your coaching business or rev it up, I should say, in anticipation of the new year, this is exactly where you need to be. It's on Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. I hold nothing back. I'm going to hold space for Q&A so you can join me like live on the Zoom. We'll have each other on camera. You can just like ask the question, participate in the conversation, and you're going to find that everyone gets over this hump of starting. It's just that you've got to decide that this is your time and you're going to do it. I love it. I love it. So y'all, thank you so much for joining me today. I really, I'm ready for any kind of questions that you may have. So just let me know if you do want to hop onto the live for the questions. Let me just check and see. What have we got? I am not seeing any questions this week. That is okay. I'm finding that I've been asking if you want to do questions. Do you guys like it when I just kind of bring the answer and assume your question? Is that better for you? Let me know in the chat. I'm experimenting a bit and I want to make sure that I'm bringing you exactly what you want. And I'm not seeing a lot of people jumping on live. So that's okay. It's no judgment. I just want to make sure that I'm doing what you actually really love. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And Mona, I'm so glad you're going to join us. That's awesome. We'll see you. We'll see you guys very soon. And we'll see you on Zoom on Thursday. Bye.